Testing, 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 testing. Welcome everybody to your non-performative live stream practice with me, Abiola Akani, girl. Give me a second to get my little studio ready. Looks like I have some folks from Mexico. Welcome. It is wonderful to have y'all. My name is Abiola Akani. I'm the founder of Yoga by Biala, or the educator behind Yoga by Biala, and also the founder of IA, which is an online yoga platform offering non-performative yoga for wellness professionals of color looking to nurture their spaces with our practices. So ultimately, non-performative yoga, y'all, is the practice beyond the poses. It's all the stuff that you don't see on Instagram, that you don't hear about yoga. It's all the other stuff that's a part of the practice that we really don't hear about, unfortunately, when it comes to Western yoga or the more commercial yoga industry. Some of the things also that define non-performative yoga when we're physically practicing the asana or going through the postures is I'd like you to really focus on keeping this practice explorative of your growth zone. That means that when you notice yourself pushing more into your pain zones, we can start to ask ourselves, why am I pushing so hard? Am I trying to perform on my mat? And if that's the case, really take a moment to stop and settle and instead explore your growth zone in your practice as opposed to trying to learn from our pain zones. So that just really helps us to cultivate self-agency within our practice. Now, today is going to be a 30-minute sun salutation practice with a little bit of a yin release and some mobilization of the hips towards the end at the end. So if you're not familiar with sun salutations are also translated as sun salutes. They're a traditional aspect of the Ashtanga yoga lineage. Ashtanga is a lineage of yoga that originated several decades ago. So this is woven into there. That's a little bit more modernized in today's practices. So when it comes to practicing sun salutations or sun salutes, I do advise you to really use this as an opportunity to serve whatever deity or source that you want to honor within your personal practice. And I will do the same as well. If you want to grab some props, you can. You can grab a yoga block. I like to have a yoga block with me when I'm practicing sun salutation, so you can grab that as well. If you don't have a yoga block, you can always use a book. That works as a great substitute. And we'll go ahead and get started. We'll come to a standing position at the tops of our mats and find what feels comfortable. You can already tell I'm very comfortable right now. This is how I practice yoga at home. Even when I'm doing crazy stuff, I'm in comfortable clothing. All the fancy stuff is not required. I'm wearing my socks. I'll take them off when I realize that I need to, but I'm going to keep them on right now because my feet are cold. So we're going to start at a standing position at the top of our mat, maybe feet hip-width distance apart, and you might draw the toes together with the heels kind of edged out, so you're creating almost this reverse V shape. And I'm going to actually keep my feet hip-width distance apart. That's really great for folks who have bigger bodies. I'm pulling my tailbone down, drawing my hip bones forward, and I'm relaxing my shoulders down, my back, to really soften through my shoulders here and instead lift up and engage from my low belly. Continuing to hold here in the standing position for a few rounds of breath. I'm just checking in with the comments here. All right, y'all. Few rounds of breath on the inhale. Let's circle sweep the hands up and over towards the heavens. Exhale, let's cactus the arms, open up the chest, expand the heart towards the heavens. Find that sovereignty from the pinnacle point of the body, so the part of the body that's closest or highest towards the heavens. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, drape it down nice and slow. Hands can come onto a block or the shins. Choose your own adventure here. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, long spine. You can tickle your nose with your plant here if you have that obstruction in between your face. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Invite the forehead towards the knees, relaxing through the knees and the low back. And let's step back, finding a tabletop position to begin with, coming onto the hands and knees. For modified chaturanga, shift forward on the hips. Make sure the shoulders are stacked over the wrists. Exhale, lower onto the belly. Inhale, cobra pose, lifting the heart, little to no weight in the hands. Oh, you might pick up the hands, zip the inner thighs together, and pull the tailbone down. Exhale, chin kisses the mat. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes underneath the feet. Downward facing dog. So now I'm feeling I'm losing traction, so I'm going to slip. I'm going to slip out of my socks. Don't slip out of your socks the way I just did, though, y'all. Just for safety purposes. I'm going to pedal out my knees one by one here. You might do the same, keeping the 5 fingers rooted, finding an L shape in the hands here, and finding the pinnacle point in your body. That being our hips, our booty. So expanding the booty high, activating through the root chakra there, and finding sovereignty in the pinnacle point of the body, which is the tailbone, which is correlated to our root chakra. So which each point that's highest to the top of the heavens, or each point that's at the pinnacle of the body within the pose, the pinnacle point of the body within the pose, really becoming aware of the chakra associated with that pinnacle point and really finding sovereignty there. On the inhale, we're going to step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, hands to the shins or your blocks, nice long spine, shifting forward so the hips are over the heels. Exhale, forward fold, invite the forehead towards the knees. You can bend the knees, softening through the low back. Inhale, circle sweep hands up and over. Exhale, Anjali Mudra, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, give grace, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, lower the hands, step the right leg back, lower the right knee. Inhale, Anjaneyasana, hands come high. Exhale, lower the hands to frame that left leg, lengthen out the left knee, find a half split. Make sure your hip is stacked right over the knee. And try not to sit back and towards the heels. You're not going to be activating the center of the hamstring with that variation. If you need to, you can always bring the earth to you with 2 blocks or books here if you're feeling tight in the hamstrings. Inhale, find a nice long spine. So you might draw your crown of your head forward. Exhale, begin to bow forward from the low belly. Finding space in the hamstring here. Inhale, let's bend that left knee, tuck the back right toe, right knee rises. Take a moment to ground. Exhale, step it back. High plank. Inhale, option to drop the knees. Modified chaturanga as we did previously, or come back to high plank, shift forward on the toes. Exhale, lowering to the belly or halfway. Inhale, cobra or up dog, lifting the heart and belly. Exhale. Downward facing dog, flipping the toes, rooting the feet, 5 fingers wide, creating an L shape through the thumb and index finger. Take a moment to bend your elbows. Notice if the elbows are winging out to the left and the right or going behind you. We want them to go behind us. So in order going behind you, we want them to go behind us. So in order to do that, really find that 5-finger grip through the hands with an L shape through the thumb and the index finger, and then press the armpits or press the backside of the heart or the shoulder blades apart as if they're wrapping in to kiss the chest. In the next inhalation, you might come high on the balls of the toes and find 1 or 2 steps forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Invite the hands towards the earth, relaxing through the head and the neck. Inhale, circle sweep hands up and over. Exhale, Anjali Mudra, hands come to heart center. Really focusing on finding sovereignty through the crown of the head, which is the pinnacle point of the body here. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, dive forward, give grace, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Step the left leg back, lower the left knee, hands come high. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Exhale, lower the hands to frame the right foot and lengthen out that right leg, finding your half split. Now, if you are sensitive within the knees, you can always pad the left knee here with a blanket or a towel. Relaxing the head and neck down here. One to two more breaths. Inhale, let's bend the right knee. Exhale, tuck the back left toe, left knee rises. Step the right leg back, high plank. Option to shift forward on the toes, or you can drop knees. Inhaling here, exhale, lower halfway or onto the tubby. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Choose your own adventure. You do not have to copy what I'm doing. Exhale, downward facing dog. That's why I provided that option of coming onto the knees, modified chaturanga first up, to know that's always available for you. Don't worry about trying to mimic or keep up with someone else. Keep your practice non-performative, y'all, and cultivate agency in your body by flowing in what feels safe. Might come on to the balls of the toes on the inhale. Exhale, sink the knees and step or hop forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Invite the forehead towards the knees, relaxing here. Inhale, circle sweep hands up and over. Exhale, Anjali Mudra, hands come high to the heart center. Exhale here. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, give grace. Dive forward once again. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, lower the hands, step the right leg back, lower the right knee, hands come high. Exhale, half split, lower the hands to frame the left foot. So you notice how once we do this a few times, you start to build some heat. So we're going to keep doing this. The same flow. So sun salutations is always the same flow. I've modified it a little by adding this half split variation that we're in. This isn't in a traditional sun salutation, but the hamstrings were calling for a little love, so I wanted to add it for myself. Tuck the back right toe, bend the left knee, right knee rises. Step back, find your high plank. Option for modified chaturanga, coming onto the knees, or inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, cobra. Option for up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step or hop forward, coming high on the balls of the toes. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Invite the forehead towards the knees. They don't have to kiss. Inhale, micro bend the knees, circle sweep hands up and over. Exhale, hands come to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Activating the crown chakra, activating the point or the pinnacle of the body here. Inhale, hands come high. Exhale, swan dive forward, give grace to the body. Forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Step the left leg back, lower the left knee. Inhale, hands sweep up to the heavens. Anjaneyasana. Exhale, lower the hands to frame the right foot, lengthen out that right knee. Invite the right hip bone back as you dive forward. Finding your half split here. Inhale, go ahead and bend that right knee again. Tuck the back left toe, left knee rises. Step the right leg back. Option to drop onto the knees, or inhale, shift forward on the toes and plank. Exhale, lowering halfway. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath here, or you can rest in a child's pose. Find what feels settling for your body. Once again, coming high on the balls of the toes, sinking through the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Taking your time to get there. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins or blocks. Exhale, forward fold. Invite the forehead towards the knees, keeping a micro bend in the knees. Inhale, circle sweep hands up and over. Exhale, Anjali Mudra, hands come to heart center. Inhale, hands sweep up. And exhale, fold. Step the right knee back, lower the right knee, hands come high. Exhale, lower the hands to frame the left foot, lengthen out the left knee, half split. Option to come into a different variation or a deeper variation of a split if you'd like. Maybe using a block or two. Inhale, bend that left knee, tuck the back right toe. Right knee rises. Step the left leg back, high plank. Option to drop the knees or inhale, shift forward in high plank. Exhale, option to lower halfway. Inhale, cobra. Option for up dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale, coming high on the balls of the toes. Sinking through the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold, softening through the head of the neck, no holding, bending through the knees if need be. Inhale, circle sweep hands up and over. Exhale, hands come to Anjali Mudra. Inhale, hands sweep up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, drape it down. Inhale, step the left knee back. Hands come high. Anjaneyasana. Cultivating that heat. So if you follow me on Instagram, which is Yoga by Biala, shameless plug, basically the same name for my YouTube channel, Yoga by Biala. If you follow me on Instagram, exhale, lower the hands to frame the right foot. Find your half split. You'll know that I was sharing how to use yoga to cultivate more confidence. And I used sun salutation as a offering to cultivate that. And the question, or rather the statement we want to make, is we're not trying to produce confidence as if it's something outside of the body. Come into a deeper version of half split if you like. Because confidence actually lives in the body. It lives in the third chakra, which is located in the belly or the core. So with that, it's about really receiving confidence, receiving the confidence that's already active and alive within your own body. And the reason why we're using sun salutations, it's because it stokes the fire of the belly, it cultivates heat, and confidence emits heat. It's why we're like, oh my God, that person's so hot. They're so hot. They're so good looking. It's because they emanate a almost like folks who are really confident, they emanate heat, which lives in the belly. Tuck the back, or bend the right knee, tuck the back, left toe, left knee rises, step the right leg back, high plank. Option to drop on the knees or inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath here. So I love sun salutations for really cultivating heat in the body because the flow is pretty much the same, and you can do that flow so many times and discover new things in your body each time. And it's also such a beautiful way to cultivate heat in the body, which you can pace out yourself because the flow never changes. And cultivate that personal power, which is also stored in the belly, and really start to receive that as your own. Once again, it's not about producing confidence. It's about receiving it. On the next inhalation, y'all, let's step the right shin forward with the knee coming right behind the right wrist for pigeon pose, gliding the left leg back. Now, if you're feeling really tight in the hips, support the body by bringing a block directly underneath your hip and pigeon pose. You could also substitute this out with a pillow. Now, look back over your left shoulder. Notice what your left knee is doing. Is it poking out to the left, or is it directly underneath the leg? Try to keep it right underneath the leg. Now for me, I'm going to go ahead and remove this block, but if that helps you to feel settled in this posture, I invite you to keep it there for yourself. And if this pose bothers your knee, your right knee, invite your right foot closer towards your groin. Another option that activates the same part of the hip is coming into figure 4. So dropping onto the booty, wrapping that left leg around, windmilling the hand straight back, kind of like you're sunbathing here. And instead inviting your right foot onto your left knee and bending your left knee. You get the same benefit and activation here as you do in pigeon pose. I'm going to stay in pigeon because pigeon also opens up the psoas, which is located on the front of the left hip. So if you're feeling a stretch on the front of the left hip, pigeon pose also opens that up, which is why I'm wanting to explore it today. However, you can find the same opening in the outer right hip in figure 4, that seated variation. And the reason why I'm staying lifted is because I want to open up my psoas, but you can drop your forearms right here and kind of surrender into the sensation you're feeling in that outer hip if you prefer. Find what feels settling for you. You do not have to match my practice. My practice is my own. Your practice is also your own. Holding here for a few more rounds of breath, continuing to befriend your body here. So I don't need you to fight your way through this posture. If it's feeling unsafe, come out of it. Moving into some of those yin releases and activation. Yin is a style of yoga that actually originates out of Taoism, rooted in Chinese spiritual practices, or a Chinese form of yoga. And if you practiced with me last week, I was talking a little bit about yin yoga, and that was a yin yoga practice. So I encourage you to go back to that one. But yin yoga is very low to the ground, long holds to really get into the connective tissue. So it's long, deep holds that are low to the ground. Sometimes they're held for about 5 to 10 minutes. So yin yoga classes usually feature only a sprinkling of postures. You might get through maybe 10 or even less in a class because you're just holding poses for such a long period of time. We're not going to hold this posture here for 5 minutes, but we might cut that in half and hold for at least 1 to 2 minutes. Noticing if you're biting down on the mouth or the jaw, if you're kind of in pigeon pose and you're slinking over to the right, try to come back to center so you're not running out of the posture. Leaning into the growth zone of sensation. If it ever feels like you're leaning into your pain zone a little too much, then just back out. Reducing the need to learn through our pain zones and more so encourage learning through our growth zones. On the inhale, we're going to go ahead and come up. If we're in pigeon pose, slink over to the right booty cheek, and bend your left knee. And basically, we're coming into this shape as if we're making a backwards S with the right shin and this left. So it's going to feel a little awkward. Root your right hand on the outside of your hip and your left on the inside, holding here, noticing if you're feeling any sensation on the inside of that left hip. And what we're going to do here is really focus on keeping the crown of the head on top of the shoulders and the shoulders on top of the hip while we lift this back left leg. So inhale, lift that left heel. You're going to feel this, or you might feel this in your left hip. Hold for 5. Try not to shift forward. Keep the shoulders stacked over the hips for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Lower that left foot. And we're just going to do the same thing with the left knee. You can't see my left knee because it's on the left side, but you're just going to pick up your left knee and root your right heel, trying to stay right on top of the body. So right on top of the hips. Inhale, lift that left knee for 5. Holding for 4. For 3, 2. And 1. Lower the left knee. Shift the weight all the way to the right. Glide your right shin in and make your way back into tabletop. Hands and knees. So a little bit of a mobilization release as we do the opposite side. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips. Inhale, left leg sweeps up. And exhale, pigeon pose. Stepping the left knee or shin all the way to the earth and bringing the left knee right behind your left wrist. Drop your right knee, tuck and drag your right toe back to sink into the hips. Remember, if this doesn't feel settling, you can always do the other variation that I showed you, a figure 4, which activates the same outer muscle or the same muscle within the hip as pigeon pose does. And if you want to stay in pigeon and position a block underneath the hip, I invite you to do that now. Or if you don't have a block, a book or a pillow works just fine. Let's look over our right shoulder. Where's our right knee? Is it kind of winging out to the right? If so, tuck it right underneath the leg. And if this is bothering the left knee, invite the foot closer to the groin. Try to stay on top of the hips here, keeping the body midline. Once again, you can drop onto your forearms. I'm staying lifted for a moment to stretch into my front right psoas. If you'd like to, go ahead and descend by coming onto the forearms here. Try to relax the mouth and the jaw. Notice if you're biting down, soften through the mouth. Holding here a few rounds of breath, probably close to a full minute here, 60 seconds. Not as long as a traditional yin hold, but really focusing on finding a deep release here. Thirty more seconds here. On the inhale, carrying the hands in and up, slinking over to your left hip and bending through this right knee, creating an S shape with the shins and the legs, and really focusing on keeping the crown of the head on top of the shoulders and shoulders right on the hips, so avoiding kind of leaning to the left. The best way to support that is to to avoid that happening, is to root your left hand on the outside of the hip, right hand right in the center. And we're going to pick up this back right foot for 5 seconds to really start to mobilize this hip. So let's go ahead and lift that right heel for 5, for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the foot. Same thing. If you get a cramp, you can kind of move out of it. I was getting a cramp there for a minute. Same thing with this right knee. Trying to stay rooted. Root your left hand on the outside of the hip to stay on top of the hips. And let's lift this right knee for 5, for 4, for 3, 2, 1. And release. Bring both legs forward. Option to come on to the low back and belly here, hugging the knees in for a moment, or you can stay seated As we close our practice, these last 2 minutes, I'm going to stay seated in a Virasana Thunderbolt pose, sitting on my block. If you are lying down on your backs, settling here into your final resting posture, Shavasana. I invite you to close the eyes, or you can keep them open if that feels safe for you and your body. If you're lying on your back and you want to stay there for a little longer, I invite you to do so, resting there. If you're on your lunch break and you still have a little bit more time, I invite you to just kind of hang out there. Or if you're in a seated position and you have a little bit more time, I invite you to rest there for a moment. Or you can join us as we slowly begin to rouse the body out of our state of silence and begin to close our practice. Maybe drawing the hands together at heart center and taking a fluid inhale here. And fluid exhale out of the mouth, HA. We'll each repeat one time. I've done my best. I leave the rest. Namaste. Namaste, everyone, and thank you for joining us for that 30-minute sun salutation practice with a little bit of a Yana mobility release at the end. This will be available on my channel for you to come back to later if you'd like to. I have been doing these on Tuesdays, these live streams Tuesday at noon, but I most likely won't be doing them for the next 2 weeks. So if you don't see me here, you can join me for the next one or watch the ones that we currently have going up on my YouTube channel now. I also have several other videos on there for you to practice at your leisure. So I invite you to check out that full, robust library of beginner to advanced yoga practices. Continue to be well, y'all, and I will see you very soon. Don't forget to follow your girl on the gram at Yoga by Biala. And if you'd like to donate for today's practice or any of my YouTube videos that I've done, just head to Venmo and just put in my name, Yoga by Biala, and I should pop up. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Yes, you're welcome, Dana. Thanks for joining. Namaste, everyone.